Paul Finebaum had some thoughts on Oklahoma's playoff chances in 2024. We'll discuss that coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
College football is back, and it's not too late to catch up before the season kicks off. SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, you can get it all from Locked On's stable of college football experts by subscribing to the Locked On College Football Podcast. Who has a chance to make the playoff? What teams will cause chaos in their new conferences? Everything you need to know all in one place. Be sure to follow and subscribe to the Locked On College Football Podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And Jay, the Oklahoma Sooners are going to be one of those teams contending for a playoff spot, but with their schedule, 6 teams in the top 15 of the USLBM and AP top 25. This is going to be a very, very fun / fascinating season for the Sooners. Paul Finebaum of ESPN and the SEC Network had this to say about Oklahoma's chances to make the playoffs. He said, one more school on the fringe of what I just got through saying is Oklahoma. They're an upset away, probably, from being in playoff contention. Now, he's talking about fringe playoff teams. ESPN's Heather Dinich had Oklahoma as one of their first 4 out and cited the road difficulty that Oklahoma will face. So, Jay, what do you think it's going to come down to for Oklahoma to make the playoff this year?
I agree with Finebaum on this one. It's going to be an upset of a game that we don't expect him to win. And honestly, you're looking at probably 2 games that will be the ones that people will consider as quote-unquote upsets. Traveling to Ole Miss and then Bama at the crib, right? So if we go up to Oxford and we cook them, yeah, that's playoff-bound team at that point. Because to me, once you get to that game, you'll have a very good understanding of what Oklahoma is, right? You would think I would say Red River's the game, but Red River's always all over the place. It's just there's nothing to predict. It's hard to, but at the same time, we still have to see what Texas is going to look like because they're dealing with a lot of stuff there right now, right? Like I mean, craziness there. But I'm not trying to throw that at them, but when you ain't got no running back, you put linebackers back there, it's questions, right? And of course, I've always had questions about Quinn Ewers. We'll see what he looks like. But I've never felt like he's just consistent enough. Also, he hasn't stayed healthy a full season yet. So for them, it's about surviving the entire season with what injury bug they're dealing with. Ole Miss is that one, and I think that Bama's probably the second game at home. If we can go undefeated at home, that's a guaranteed 10-win season. Guaranteed. All we got to do is go undefeated at the crib. And I have a feeling we have a very good chance. I'm waiting to see what DeBoer looks like, but by the time we play them, I think they'll have things together, so it's going to really be a challenge. That's why we talked about it last show. They're going to be challenging because of that. What games do you think would be considered the upsets that would get Oklahoma to the playoffs?
Yeah, I think the last game of the season is one of those that
LSU's a good point.
Chris Gordy, Locked On SEC, talked about it a couple months ago, could be a play-in game for the playoff. Both of those teams could be coming in at round 9 wins, and whoever wins that one could be punching their ticket to the college football playoff. I'm still of the mind that if Oklahoma has 9 wins with their schedule and they go at least 3-3 against Tennessee, Auburn, Texas, Ole Miss, Bama, LSU, replace Auburn and Missouri. If they go 3-3 against those 6 teams, they're going to have a good chance to be in the playoff because that strength of schedule is going to be so high. And that's going to be something that the playoff committee considers. Now, I know it's weird to think about a 9-3 team making the college football playoff, but this is the world that we live in now. This is the Seattle Seahawks getting into the playoffs at 7-9 and going and winning a game because Marshawn Lynch goes into beast mode. It's a different world that we're living in. This idea that we got to go undefeated to be a national title contender is not the same as it once was. We may never see another undefeated national champion. We may never see it. It could happen this year with Georgia, but it might be more 1-loss, 2-loss teams winning national titles, which I know is weird for a lot of people's worldview of college football, but it's just the new reality. And so I think there's a really strong possibility that last game of the season, it tells the tale of Oklahoma's season. Are they a playoff team? Are they a bowl team? How they handle that last month of the season is going to be indicative of what they're playing for in the postseason. Missouri, Alabama, and LSU, those could all three be top 20 matchups when they get to that point.
No, that's a very good point. The biggest question to me is going to be this season, and I've mentioned this before, how many actual top ranked matchups will we have once we get to said games, right? We keep hearing about all these these ranked games, but the question is going to be, will they actually be ranked when we see them? I am in the belief that the SEC, if the SEC is much of a gauntlet as everybody says it is, I'm in the belief that there are going to be a lot of teams beating up on each other, and it's not going to be as quote unquote competitive as far as rankings go as people are trying to predict. I think there's going to be a lot of teams that's going to end up falling out the top 25 a lot quicker than we anticipate, because it ain't going to be that easy for them to get around. So that's going to be one that's going to make a difference to be able to sneak in, is if we actually beat them when they're ranked, and if they can maintain some sort of a ranking once we get close to the playoffs. If that happens, you might got a good chance.
Yeah, I think of the teams that are ranked in front of Oklahoma, I mean, LSU has a chance to drop out, but if Garrett Nussmeier is the guy that we saw in the bowl game this last fall or this last winter, then, I mean, he's going to be really good. But they're replacing a lot on offense, and they got a defense that still needs to step up. We're going to talk about them next. Missouri, that's a team that's probably going to still be a top 15 team by the time Oklahoma plays them, because their schedule's so light. And if they can survive Texas A&M, Auburn, Bama, I mean, they'll definitely, if they can win all those games, they'll be a top 5 team by the time Oklahoma plays them.
Yeah, no excuse.
Yeah, I mean, Ole Miss, I think Ole Miss will probably still be highly ranked. Tennessee will be highly ranked by the time we see them. Texas will likely be highly ranked unless they get upset by Michigan. So this is an interesting schedule for Oklahoma. If they can survive it, they go 3-3, 4-2. They'll really have a strong case for making the playoffs. Again, 4-2 against Tennessee, Missouri, Texas, Ole Miss, LSU, and Bama. I mean, that's going to be as strong a case as anybody in the country for a college football playoff spot. The 2024 college football season is right around the corner. If you're still looking for tickets, Game Time's got you covered. They've got a lot of great options available. I'm looking at the Houston Cougars game. It's going to be a night game. You're going to get an opportunity to see Oklahoma in the Wilkinson throwbacks at night. That's going to look clean. Those white helmets on Owen Field look phenomenal, I'm sure. But there's end zone tickets less than $50. I'm seeing tickets, on the 50-yard line, $119 right now for that game over at Game Time. The best place to get last-minute tickets. It's the lowest prices guaranteed, and Game Time actually lowers the prices as you get closer to kickoff. So you can go check it out for your favorite events, whether it's Creed that's going to be coming to the Paycom Center or any Oklahoma games this fall. Go to Game Time. They've got the last-minute tickets, the lowest prices. They've also got that all-in views from your seat, and they're all in pricing. So what you see on the website is exactly what you're going to get. No surprise fees or taxes at checkout. So go download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. But again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Well, we have something a little different from you. So now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers that bet $5, and you will get 3 weeks free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. That's right. Then with YouTube TV's base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. Huge deal. All you need is a Google account and current firm of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Shocker. One thing over there, if you go to FanDuel.com, I've been checking out Oklahoma to make the college football playoffs. Right now is a plus 490 as a yes, minus 750 as a no. I'm going to jump all over that plus 490 because, yeah, that's a very juicy number. So check it out. Go just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and download America's #1 sports book.